what's going on? Miguel Lloyd, host of Life Full Circle Radio, and everybody raise your hand, your left hand to God. My computer is acting a fool today. I think we're good, but so we got quite a few things going on, a lot going on. Topics today, we're going to talk about Trump invading California. Yep, I said invade. That's what he did. Senator Padilla was arrested, but the biggest story of the week, Minnesota lawmaker was killed. Come to find out this guy was an evangelical. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Iran has been bombed. Imagine, just look at this list. Look at this list. This is crazy. BET Awards review, and then we're going to talk what, and we're going to talk about what we're watching. Make sure you follow us on all the social media platforms right now. I'm hanging out on Threads a lot more recently. I'm getting a little bit more love over there. I refuse to go back in the Twitter streets. I'm done with that. Super producer.
So much going on. I don't even know where we should start. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Missed you guys. Happy to be back.
You know, I didn't even put the Trump parade in the hashtags because I'm just like, who was there? Like, you know. There was some folks there, but I saw a clip. There was a tank rolling down the street, and there was a kid sitting on the tank.
That was not a kid.
Who was it?
So what they did is they were trying to show the eras through the army. So they started off with, you know, the very first iteration of the army with the fancy, you know, pants and jacket and musket. They did that. Then they moved on to another era of the army. Then they moved on to World War I. Then they moved on to World War II. What you were looking at was the Vietnam War with the tanks and the men with no shirts on, fighting, you know, the guerrilla warfare, no shirts, hats, very skinny because they weren't buff back then. That's what you were looking at. They were going through everywhere.
I saw a kid. I swear I saw a kid.
Pull up the picture so I can prove you wrong.
And now you're gonna make me go search it out. I'll search it out. We'll figure it out before the show is out. But I swear it was a kid.
Was the little boy
shirtless?
No,
the little boy wasn't shirtless. That's what I'm saying. That to me, now that you're describing it, they had a shirtless Vietnamese kid on a tank. They didn't do that.
Not Vietnamese, an American kid. It was supposed to show like an 18-year-old American kid riding in a tank.
No, this was a little person
fighting in the Vietnam War.
This is what I thought I saw. What I thought I saw was somebody's daddy is a general or something and said, "Hey, I want to go ride on the tank. Can I go ride on the tank?" And it was a kid
on the parade route.
On the parade, yes.
That's what you see. What I was describing is what he's looking at, ladies and gentlemen. Either way, no matter how you shape this or put this, the parade was a bust. No matter how we shape it or confusion, or honestly, if there was a little kid, sorry about the stain, guys. If there was a little kid in the tank, it probably would have been more well received than that tank creaking down the road with no one cheering or clapping. I have seen caskets get better received round of applause and how that tank was rolling down the road and just.
We had this conversation before. It was kind of like these tanks are not made for American streets. They're tearing up our streets. It's, you know, it's insane. It's insane that this guy went through with this. But I'm at the point, you know, I've been at this point where I'm not surprised by anything that he's doing. At this point, it is what it is.
So let me give you the facts real quick, since we're just going to roll right into the show. So on Saturday, President Donald Trump held a hideously expensive parade in Washington, D.C. And by hideously expensive, we mean $45 million. Trump and his top officials stood on the stage at the National Mall behind two tanks before two large digital American flags, military bands and troops, some on horses, some in vehicles, some in tanks, others in howitzers? What's a howitzer?
Not sure.
Cool. March in the streets. So did a few robot dogs. An Army parachute team jumped down. Helicopters flew over. Drones flew by. There were many, many tanks. The spectacle was billed as honoring the U.S. Army's 250th birthday, and planners put in admirable efforts to reflect this fiction. But in reality, it was a birthday gift to himself from President Donald Trump. The weekend's pageantry was some administration officials referred to as Donald Trump's birthday parade behind closed doors, fulfilled the president's longtime desire for a grand military parade. Trump said next to his wife, Melania, who, per usual, looked like she didn't want to be there. She
didn't want to be there for the last 10 years. She's like, why won't this end? Oh, my God, this will not end.
late in the evening, Trump stood at the podium on stage and swore in 250 new or reenlisting troops. Welcome to blah blah blah. After 2 hours, the event reached its logical conclusion. Political speeches. J.D. Vance briefly went first. June 14th, of course, the birthday of the Army. Blah blah blah. President Trump spoke. Some other people spoke, but nobody attended. And that's what we're all talking about. Like,
you know how I feel about the nobody thing. Of course, there were people that were there. I saw people on the mall. I saw blah blah. But but there were more people
in a mall than you saw at this event. Like, let's just roll on with the jokes.
But here's what we do know is that when it came down to it, there was a lot of people protesting with the No Kings protest all over the country, in every city, everywhere. They were absolutely everywhere. But there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm gonna try to see if we can get it in before. I need to add a segment in here about what I'm doing. The Howard so here we go. So we got and thank you to my brother for his service. Brother Andre Sias says the howitzer is an artillery weapon that falls between a cannon and a mortar. It is capable of both low angle fire like a field gun and a high angle fire like a mortar. Are you all?
So wait, is that thing that rolls on wheels? Like, they
you
push
way
it like
over
it's
our
on
head, brother. You done went all the way. You done went all the way over our head. But I believe you.
Is it the thing that rolls on wheels? Like it looks like a giant cannon, but it rolls on wheels. You push it back and forth. Okay, now I gotta look it up.
Well, yeah, let's do that, and I'm sure he can help us out here. So, but when it comes down to what we witnessed and what we continuing to witness, and Audrey said, "Yep, you're right. You're right." So it's just it's insane what we're seeing right now. We're seeing, there was a situation, and I'm going to find it in Vegas where some guy was mouthing off at the cop, and the cops just attacked him like a gang. You're talking about people who running up in people's houses. One woman was pregnant, I saw recently, and they were threatening to break down her door. And it's
Talking about ICE.
Right. All of this is to me, it's the same to me. The military, okay. the Marines in Cali, ICE all over the place, not identifying themselves, pulling up in Kia Spectrums, jumping out of
children
now. It's just crazy. They're not identifying themselves. They're all masked up. You got Alex Padilla, the senator, who identified himself. They claim he didn't identify himself, but he clearly was saying, "I'm the U.S. Senator Alex Padilla," and they snatching him up. My understanding is that where they were is his office building where he works every day. So they were in his space and coming in there and acting like they didn't know who he was, right? And so ain't but two senators from each state. You trying to tell me one of the senators from the state of California, you guys didn't know who they were, and you guys are stop it, man. Stop the lies.
You know what kills me about that whole situation? I think we talked about this in our production meeting, is that they kept screaming, "Oh, Padilla is just giving political theater." You mean after Kristi Noem has cosplayed as a Marine, as an ICE agent, as a warden in a Venezuelan prison, as what else is she, CIA agent? She has just been putting on these fun uniforms that go with her hair and her makeup, and been pretending to be something she's not,
right,
to promote something that none of us understand. So where's the theater at? Like, she's bringing the theater.
All this is theater. All of this nonsense is theater. I'm looking at this stuff and just watching how, man, you even think about it as we talk about, as I'm pulling up different, the stuff that happened with the sheriff in Florida, and he's talking about, how he's the reason why he's going to kill people. And I'm just like, this is insane. I'm just like, are you guys even trying to act like y'all have any daggum sense? And the answer is no. They're basically saying that, you guys are going to test us, and if you try to test us, this is what's going to happen. Here's another situation. And this one is this one here. For folks who don't know, this is an ICE agent who basically telling an attorney, you got a choice. Pick which one is going to go with me. And here's the thing. These are black folks that are dealing with this situation here. And so, hold on a second. I want you guys to hear the audio on this. This is crazy.
Their hatred or...
I'm kind of confused just because their family is his wife, she has health issues. He is my other client, and he's also my client. The three of them are given until June 19th to respond to the motion to expedite that rule. So I would like to be given a chance to have that.
Well,
where is the option?
What's funny about that? He's for people to understand what's going on. He's standing there, and for black folks who said that black folks had nothing to do with this, that's a black family right there. Those are black people right there that are in this situation. He basically said to his attorney, as she said to him, they are a family. The wife has health issues, and the ICE agent basically is saying, your choice. I can take one or I can take them all. And the lawyer's like, excuse me, can you? And he giggles like that's funny. These are people's lives.
She's laughing out of shock. She's laughing at a pure shock.
She's not laughing. He's laughing.
No, she laughed too, but I think she laughed out of pure shock and ridiculousness of the situation. Like, you want me to what? Like, what? Like most of us would be. You want me to what? You want me to choose which group of people that came here as a family? Which one is supposed to go with you, or all of them?
Right. Either the husband. So you can either let the husband go, or I'll take them all, the whole family. Your choice. Because Trump is now, the word is that there's 3,000 arrest or deportations supposed to happen per day. Doesn't matter how it happens. Just get 3,000 people out of here per day. And so this is what people say, well, I didn't vote for that. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Listen, let me tell you what my favorite thing on TikTok is now. Watching Latina Trump supporter daughters and wives who were so big. We have to vote for Donald Trump. I'm so excited. He's going to change America. We're going to do it all together. Viva la America, whatever. Watching all of that, who are now like, but you deported my husband. You deported my dad. You deported my uncle. But they were different. They were here. They've been here. They've been working. They've been this and that. The biggest lie he ever told the Latin community is that he was only going to deport gang members and criminals. Right. That is the biggest lie that he could have ever told, because they all believed him. Heck, half of us were like, okay, cool. If he's supporting gang members and drug dealers,
right?
Great. And then it slowly morphed into what he really wanted. Every brown person, you don't have a right to be here. I have not seen not one Canadian, French, Italian, anybody white be deported.
And you're not going to see them. Are you not going to see them people deported? None of them people going to deport it.
And they're here the most who are here illegally. Like, and that's not me making it up just for the point of it. I'm a Republican sitting here. Canadians come here all the time and are kind of like, it's not that big a deal. I live right over there. They're not going to say nothing to me. No one cares.
Because they're not. Because they're not. And that's the craziness that we're seeing here. This situation here. And I just been seeing a lot of this crap going on, right? So let me see if I can get this one to play. Yeah, here we go. Oh, the audio's not coming. Why is the audio not coming up? All right, we'll have to find the version of this. So in essence, this is a situation where these cops are walking by, and I got to find the audio for this, because the cops are walking by. The guy right here in the right, the guy says to him, why about you guys honor your oath? And then he calls him a bitch ass. And the cop said, okay, there he goes. And they attack these people like a gang. This is in Las Vegas. The woman didn't say anything. The woman was just like, I'm not doing anything. She's just recording. They jumped on her. They jumped on him. This is where we are. You got the other situations I said. The guy in Florida, when he came out, the sheriff basically said, our big, beautiful dogs will bite you. And if you stand in front of the road, you're going to get drugged, by the cars. And then it's go ahead. And because I get it. I get the spirit of why he's basically saying protesters. Go ahead, make your thought. Finish your thought.
No, that's not even my thought.
Go ahead.
I feel like
express
law
yourself.
enforcement across the country have been basically told either you follow in line with what Trump wants or you don't work here anymore. That's the end of conversation. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, he can't do that. He was not supposed to be able to do a bunch of stuff that he's done over the past couple of months. Able to do it. So why are we shocked if that has been the rhetoric that has gone down to police departments to basically say the only department apparently who doesn't really care what Trump has to say is the fire department, who has been doing donuts in the streets to support the protesters in LA for whatever reason. But
this stuff is.
You should not be able to be a cop if you're obese. I'm still against that. The obesity of it all.
You're going to go to jail tight because we're going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at. So I'm gonna break it down for you, all right? And if somebody wants to know what I mean by turn violent, all right, this is what I mean. If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tight because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely. So I'm going to break it down for you.
So I didn't get to the part. It's in there when he talks about how he's going to kill and put you in the graveyard and all that type of crap. And so this big boy, this big bully movement that is prevalent right now in law enforcement, it just shows what many of us. It's a funny thing as black folks, you're seeing these protests going on all over the place. You're not seeing a lot of black people out here at these parades, right? They're not seeing at these protests.
You won't.
You're not seeing, because this is all this that is going on. We already know this. Our ancestors, our parents told us about it when it was going on in the 50s and the 60s. Many of us experienced it in the 80s and 90s growing up. This is none of this what you guys all of a sudden are getting revelation that the cops don't give a crap about people is something that we as black folks like, this ain't news.
But that's why we're not, but you know why we're not going to the parades, right? Listen, Latinx community who listens to us, even my sister-in-law's family, who they told me they went to the protest and they were so proud. And I was like, oh, hey, you go, girl. Yes, I'm so proud of you. I'm not going. It's because you all voted for him.
Yeah. We
all asked you not to. We told you not to. We had concerns about your safety, his immigration policy, this and that. No, he's only going to stop the criminals and the illegals and blah, blah, blah. It'll be fine. So you all voted for him in a large mass. Maybe not in Georgia so much, but I live in Florida.
Oh no, it's the national numbers are what they are. Yeah, 52 or 57% of black Hispanic men voted for Trump.
Well, I live in Florida, and it was a much higher amount of people in Florida, especially Cubans who live here. My family is Cuban. They voted for him in a huge amount, and now these people are getting deported. And they keep using the same thing. Well, we supported you during BLM. That was different. Completely different, because we did not know that George Floyd was going to be killed and black and brown people were going to be victims of police violence, which always happens. We as black people told you, don't do this because this is what's going to happen. This is dangerous. Don't do it. Don't stand by his side. You were like, no, it's fine. It's not going to be us. And now you want us to support you. No, I'm sorry. I can't. And I'm not.
No.
I'm not.
No.
I feel sorry for you. I do feel sorry for the Latin community.
I absolutely do.
From Twitter, from Facebook, I will spread your message, but I will not get into my car, drive to a parade, and support you from there. I will not.
Not gonna happen.
Because of this reason. Go ahead, Miguel. Please piggyback on my sentiment.
No, it's absolutely, it's like you said, this is something that we told you guys. This is something that y'all believe that they wouldn't go this far. And we always knew that they would go this far.
Absolutely.
We knew that they would go this far.
Enjoy yourself.
You know, covering everything.
Honor your oath. How about honor your oath, bitch? How about that? Honor your oath. Oh, there you go.
I didn't do nothing. I didn't say nothing.
He goes to jail. Let's go. You go to jail, bro.
And the sad thing is, when he is released and he sues the police department, this is an instant where he'll be able to sue the police department and win.
Sure.
100%.
But
wasn't.
Go ahead, finish your thought, because there's something else is going on in Georgia. Go ahead.
He wasn't an immediate threat. He wasn't an immediate threat.
He was not posing any threat. This dude got all in his feelings as a cop because he called him the B word. And here's the thing: there was a time 5 years ago, if they knew that this woman was live broadcasting, they would at least pulled up a little bit. They don't give a crap. The woman says, "I ain't doing anything. I'm on live." She's trying to throw out all the protection she thinks that she has in this scenario, and she has none. They go through in this video. They say they make a mention about, this ain't LA. Go back to LA, and they're trying to show how much we don't give a crap about you. We have carte blanche right now to do whatever it is that we want to do and treat you like trash. And so while y'all want to get out here protesting and think your little cameras and your little flags are going to stop us from beating your behinds, they're telling them like, nah, we got Trump in the office now. We've got Republican governors that are supporting what we're doing. And now we're having situations now with the tort reform, which is going on, where a lot of what you're talking about them suing the police and getting paid for this stuff, state legislators are starting to move on that as well now. And they're trying to get to the point that you can't get these lawyers can't go out here and get these settlements with ease, right? And so they're working on that part too. In tort reform, I know it's happening here in Georgia. I don't know how much of it's happening in Florida, but I know it is a Republican initiative to stop all the legalities and all of the court proceedings that are going on. I'm losing my vocabulary right now, but point being is that this is where we are, and I just look back and I'm just saying, my goodness, like, where does this crap end? I don't know.
If you need to go to one cam because your camera is doing something weird. So it's not only that, and I hate to take the show to kind of a weird dark turn, but in Minnesota, there was an assassination over the weekend, and the suspect, Vance Bolter, has been captured and he has been arraigned and everything. But, a Minnesota lawmaker and her husband, lost their husband. So 3 representatives from 2 states, Wisconsin and Michigan, said their names were on a list linked to Boltner. Let me just fast forward to the different part of the story. So sorry, guys. There's so many stories coming out about this. I want to make sure I have the right one. Give me 1 second. Okay, so Vance Luther Boltner, who I said had got arraigned today, 57, who was charged with fatally shooting Melissa Hortman, a Minnesota Democrat, and her husband Mark, visited the homes of 3 other state lawmakers in a true chilling attack. U.S. Attorney Joseph H. Thompson said. Mr. Boltner, who police said researched the victims and their families beforehand, allegedly had planned for a larger scale attack, which police thwarted. He appeared in court on Monday afternoon to face 6 federal charges and possibly the death penalty if he's found guilty. He will face a death penalty. Mr. Bolton was wearing an orange jumpsuit when he arrived in court in St. Paul on Monday afternoon. He said he cannot afford a lawyer and will have a federal defense lawyer. At the briefing hearing, Mr. Boltner said he has 7 cars. Who cares? I want to kind of get to the meat and potatoes of the story. Okay, so Thompson said that Mr. Bolton arrived at the Hoffman home disguised as a police officer with a latex mask and a large black car with emergency lights on the vehicle. Mr. Boltner then rang the doorbell and shouted as the police opened the door. Thompson said authorities have a clear picture of what happened because the Hoffmans have a security camera outside their front door. I'm just going to keep going because this is in depth. When the Hoffmans opened the door, Mr. Bolton shined a flashlight in the couple. Mr. Boltner told the couple there was a shooting reported in their home and lowered his flashlight. The couple then realized that he was not a police officer. after they attempted to push him out, he allegedly fired at the couple multiple times. Thompson said then he fled, and the couple's daughter Hope called 911. Yvette Hopman was shot 8 times, and John Hoffman was shot 9 times. Both remain in the hospital. The Minister of Governor Tim Walz had said that they are expected to make a full recovery. I think both of these people have gone to glory. I think at this point, I don't think either of them.
No,
couple. Wait, I'm sorry. You're right. These couples survived. It was the other couple.
Yeah.
What are their names?
So as you're pulling that up, Holtman and her husband were murdered, and and I don't know if you mentioned this while we were having technical difficulties, but this guy was an evangelical minister, the gentleman who committed the murder.
Yes, he was.
In addition to that, he worked for a security company. Here's the other thing they don't talk about. I don't hear nothing about pleading insanity. I don't want to hear nothing about anything below first degree murder. He had makeup. He had like a prosthetic on his head.
That's what I was mentioning on the show, that he had a synthetic mask. And what it looks like, guys, imagine if you took the Michael Myers mask, but took the hair off of it, cleanly took the hair off of it, but still have the same hollow eyes, a full latex mask that hadn't been properly plastered to his face.
If that's not premeditated. If that's not premeditated, that's absolutely premeditated murder. And
it absolutely is.
And so now, what if someone were to knock on my door right now and say they were law enforcement? Because we with this, because one thing we've been talking about with all of these law enforcement, whether it be ICE agents or whoever, things that are going on, no one is showing badges anymore. No one is identifying themselves. And so if someone comes to my door and says they are police and they don't show me a badge, I'm not letting them in my house.
No.
And I'm probably going to get my pistol to be like, okay, you better identify yourself. We're going to have ourselves a nice little time right now, because you can't trust anybody. This was a law enforcement who cosplayed as a law enforcement officer at these people's door. She opened the door and was murdered. And so now,
and that's the funny thing about the first couple that he went to, when he shined a light in their face as soon as they opened the door, because they were trusting. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
He shined a light in their face, knowing as soon as they saw him, they would be like, "Oh, absolutely not." He could have never. If they would have looked in the Ring doorbell camera immediately, they were like, "No, you're not a police officer." But they couldn't see the doorbell camera. They see the lights flashing outside. Of course, when you see police lights flashing, your brain also goes, "Oh, like who? Okay, it's got to be a police officer."
And let's keep in mind, they're not average citizens. She was an elected official, and they talked about how there was an increased security presence around.
This is the first.
Both of them are elected officials.
No, the husband was of the first one, and the wife was of the second couple.
But my point is this: is that they're used to having potentially police coming to their door if there's threats that may have been in the, right. So for them to open up the door quicker than the average, because there's a law enforcement person there, they probably were more trusting than I would be, because they're dealing with them more, right? And so now, if I'm an elected official, and now we have to worry about, because anybody go buy a Ford Explorer and put some lights on it. I see it here in Georgia all the time. These security companies will get vehicles that will look just like cop cars. And in places like here, I know Florida has another state that has a lot of counties. There's 159 counties in the state of Georgia. Right here where I live, I could see Henry County Sheriff, I could see Henry County Police, I could see McDonough Police, all driving around in my community. So I see all different types of black vehicles and gray vehicles and brown vehicles and black vehicles, and all of them are law enforcement.
Same thing here.
So now you're looking like, okay, who do you trust? And that's the biggest thing that I think people, the erosion of trust in law enforcement. We as black folks, for the most part, we never really trust law enforcement. But now everybody is like, whoa, right?
Yeah.
Who can we trust?
And you're right. It really, and I think the saddest part, because for a short time, I feel like after George Floyd, police departments were doing their best to try to fix stuff. We're not like them. Oh, you guys want us to wear body cams everywhere? Cool. We're fine with that. And that's why body cam is all over social media and body cam is all over YouTube, because they're like, fine, we'll wear it. A lot of time it helps them more than it helps us because it's like, look, I wasn't doing something wrong,
Right.
but it's fine. They were
Right.
trying to. Then you have something like this that erodes it even more, where someone is pretending to be a police officer
Yeah.
and gunning down elected officials. And it's so scary because these people were in the home with their child who, you know, doesn't know anything. You're trying to protect your child. You realize you've made a mistake. Now you're trying to shove him out. You're getting shot left, right, and sideways. And the second couple who was killed, the wife and the husband who were killed, they actually shoved their daughter out of the way because they were coming home from an event that just ran late. And they just got home at a different time than they thought they were going to get home. And here they are now gunned down in their driveway doorway, trying to come home, trying to protect their child. It's just, and here's the bigger story. We have to blame Trump for this. Not just these shootings, but this rhetoric that violence is okay to solve what I don't like. And I'm not just talking about what has happened in Minnesota.
Right.
I am not just talking about what happened to Nancy Pelosi's husband. I'm also talking about what Luigi, whatever his last name is, did to kill the United Healthcare CEO.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a way to solve problems by gunning down people in the street because they do something you don't like or their company makes you unhappy.
Hey man, when you have a country that fights for everyone to have guns, I get fed more ads now on ways to conceal your guns and how you can have smaller guns that'll fit in your pocket and how you can have holsters that'll go underneath your shirt and how you got this holster that's got a magnet that you can plug that you slap up against the bathroom stall when you're using the bathroom in public. All of this stuff is going on, and I sit back and I say to myself, we are in a dark place, and I don't know where we come up from this. I don't know where it's insane. You know, this violence is absolutely everywhere. It's everywhere.
And we mentioned Alex Padilla a couple of times. We haven't really gone into the story. California. Perfect timing.
On the screen.
California Senator Alex Padilla is speaking out after a viral video captured the moment security removed him from a news conference on Thursday, June 12th. Padilla was preparing to ask Homeland Security joke Kristi Noem a question during an immigration-focused media event when the incident unfolded. He basically went to start to ask a question, and of course, he didn't do it in the nicest of way. He was shouting his question. He was nowhere near Kristi Noem. And he is tackled. You're looking at it on the screen. He was tackled to the ground. First he was pushed out of the room, shoved. Then he was tackled to the ground. And they were making it seem like he had caused some kind of crazy violent threat against her when he was more than 30 feet away from her in this room. She was never in danger. He was never in danger. They were like, well, you didn't identify himself. So the weird shirt that identifies him as a senator and the goofy windbreaker. Who wears a windbreaker anymore? None of
with
that.
With his name on it. And they were in a building where he is. That's where he works. That his offices were in that building. So for them to say they didn't know who he was, after you done snatched me up, I'm telling you, I'm the U.S. senator of only two in the largest state in America. I'm one of two senators. You trying to tell me you're in my building, in my office building, and you don't know who I am? This is all theater. It is all theater. You know, this is what you get when you elect a reality TV show as your president.
And then, of course, Kristi Noem had to do her perspective. We were conducting a press conference to update everyone on the enforcement actions that are ongoing to bring people peace to the cities of Los Angeles. And a man burst into the room, started lunging towards the podium, interrupting me and elevating his voice, and was stopped, did not identify himself, and was removed from the room. Girl, that is not what happened. That is not what that video showed at all. Why are you acting like, again, a Karen? And the pathetic white woman of, oh my God, he was brown and he was coming close to me. I never know what he's gonna do. That's what that statement sounded like.
Here's my thing about that situation. It would have looked better to me if Kristi Noem would have got into exactly what you just said. Senator Padilla, you're being rude. I'm holding a press conference. I'll be happy to meet with you when I'm done.
That would have made him look so stupid.
That would have made him look so bad if she would have taken that route. But instead of taking that route, everybody wants to act like they didn't know what the hell was going on. Oh, who is this 6'2" Hispanic guy, one of 2 senators in the state of California, right? And so just everything about it is fake. It's phony. We know that it is. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. You know, I pulled up every now and again. I try to stomach a couple of minutes of Fox News just to see what the conversation is going on over there. And
you're a good man, Charlie Brown.
I don't last very long. But the point being is that it's a whole different conversation is going on in that world. And all they're talking about is Israel and Iran. They're talking about that. They're talking about all the chaos in California. And it's so crazy when there's people who go live from California. They'd be like, I'm sitting here sipping tea. It was like the city of California, the city of Los Angeles is some 400 or 500 square miles. They're putting all this theater on in one part of town in downtown LA. The rest of the city, nothing is going on. It even started the first part of this whole theater that started off. They kept talking about Mayor Bass. Mayor Bass is the mayor of Los Angeles, the city. She ain't got no control of what's going on in Los Angeles County.
Yes.
And a lot of that was going on in Los Angeles County. And so that part. So then you've got Governor Newsom and him coming out, and some people said they didn't. I've even heard some Democrats or liberals who didn't like his words, because we said this a year ago that Newsom, if he had more time, would have been a better candidate to run against Donald Trump.
And he will be a better candidate to run against whatever crappy Republican, if it's J.D. Vance, to come up. When it's time to run, Gavin Newsom is going to run, and he's going to win, because one of Gavin's great clapbacks happened the past couple of weeks when I think it was an Alabama senator who was like, look at the violence in the street.
Tommy Tuberville. Tommy Tuberville is a former football coach at Auburn University. And
Auburn,
he was at Auburn. Yeah, and so he came out and said some more crap about all the lawlessness in California. And he flat out said there's twice the murders in Alabama than there are in California. You need to go stick to football. It was a great clapback. And
it's a great clapback because everybody watches the first 48. You see Alabama more in the first 48 than you see any other city. I would never, please.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I would rather go to California, LA County than go to any state, any Alabama city.
I'm just going through my thread. There is so much going on. The situation with Linda McMahon has been embarrassing herself. She's been all these interviews on the Hill, these hearings that are going on. Linda McMahon being the Department of Education secretary, when she was asked the question about whether or not if she even knew about the Tulsa massacres, or I would look into that. She was asked,
There's too much going on right now. It's a very, very large shit show. And we don't cuss a whole bunch in the show, but it is. There's no other way to describe it. Let's list all the things that are going on. Russia's still at war with a small, tiny nation. Israeli is still destroying. The Israelis are still destroying Gaza. Israel just recently attacked Iran out of nowhere. They're saying it's a preemptive strike, and people are like, what preemptive strike? Iran hasn't bothered anybody in the past 30 years. Fine. Trump has embarrassed us.
I ain't gonna say that. You don't bother nobody the last 30 years. That's a little bit of a stretch, but go ahead.
30, not 50, if I'm doing my math right.
You're saying Iran has not been. Iran is definitely a covert actor. They not sit over there just twiddling their thumbs. Come on now, stop.
Okay, they have not actively bothered anybody in 30 years, okay? Anyway, outside of that, we have Trump embarrassing us at the G7, talking about Russia should be back in the G7. It should be the G8, and that was the biggest mistake, and da-da-da-da. We have the Trump parade. That was a flop. We have people protesting no kings. We have an education secretary who has no idea about education. We have a defense secretary who has no idea about defense, who's walking around like a bachelorette contestant with her long hair and her lashes and everything. Then we have we have ICE, who is just kidnapping people off the street. It's no longer they're just getting criminal. They're kidnapping people.
They are. There was a man I saw a video of a man that was just He was selling flowers. Little Hispanic dude was selling flowers, and they snatched him up. He was just selling flowers, all by
Here
himself.
illegally has turned into something really crazy.
And-
If
yeah.
I walked here and didn't go through the direct gate, who cares? If I got across wherever I got across, and the first thing I did was go to a lawyer or the immigration office and say, hey, so I got here kind of crazy, but here I am, document me, I'm here just so you know who I am. Does that still make you illegal?
They're snatching people up
For
at
work.
immigration hearings. So people are following the process that you said you want me to follow. So imagine you sit up here and say, okay, sir, I got here, I filed my paperwork, I have an immigration hearing on the morning of the 14th. I show up, and when I show up, you have conversations like what we just saw, which is, hey, you got a choice. I can take one of y'all, or I can take all of y'all. But you're not going back in there because you're not going to get a hearing today. So if that's the case,
I wear masks because they know what they're doing is so ridiculous that they have a right for people to dox them. I'm sorry, you guys are committing active kidnapping of people for no valid reason. Like Miguel just said, they're at their immigration hearing. They're paying the lawyer.
They're doing what you said you want them to do to follow the process, you know. And then you got idiots. Then you got idiots like these numbnuts, right? And so then you got people who says Harriet Tubman did not exist.
And spread community distrust is working.
Since I found out Harriet Tubman is not a real person.
Bitch, don't nobody care who the fuck Emmett Till is.
Saving a quarter a day is $10,000 at the end of the year.
Emmett Till is a SA victim.
But I just think it's so crazy how everyone's like anti-AI because it's wasting water, and yet they're like determined to give their kids a bath every day.
What is this? What am I watching? What is happening?
That's what I'm saying. I should have hit the what before I even dropped that clip, right? These are the people, these are the idiots that are out here. And there's so many mass distractions that are going on. Harriet Tubman isn't real. Emmett Till,
Guys,
who
this
cares
is a real
about
reaction? I had not seen that before. That Miguel just showed me. This is my real reaction of what.
And there's these conversations when these people get into these, and that's what I'm saying. So you're very astute. You stay locked into. There are people. This is their world. Their world is too much water with AI, and Harriet Tubman isn't real, and who gives a F about Emmett Till? Yo simple behind sitting up there with your bonnet on, talking about who gives a F about Emmett Till, and Emmett Till was a sexual assault victim and all. Where did these idiots come from?
That Kylie Jenner invented the wife beater. That's a whole other thing that we'll go on later. But yes, this is the CIA is part of that too.
It's, you know, they sit back and you look at this crap and you just say,
what is happening?
It's education. It's these people are not reading. They're not engaged. They're not trying to be smart. To hell with being smart when I can go on the internet and get people to like my comment when I sit up here talking about who gives a F about Emmett Till. Like,
see, this is why I know me and Miguel and Tracy, I will say, even though Tracy went to a military school, we are glad and proud that we got a military education and an HBCU education because nothing was hidden from us. Everything was truth, honest, black and white. This is what it is. You may like it, you may not like it, but this is what it is 100%. And I feel like a lot of people, I feel bad for any child born after 2000 because a lot of things are spoon-fed to them, softened for them, hidden from them that they don't realize about. The only thing that me and Miguel can say 100% that we did not know about, and maybe it's just me, is like the Tulsa Race Massacre. Outside of that, everything else has been given to us or we have found through our parents. We have researched. Like I live in Florida. I am very familiar with the Rosewood Massacre because I live in Florida. Like we know these things. The new generation.
We know, and there's stuff that you have to be a lifelong learner. Because a lot of this stuff I'm not going to sit up and say I knew coming out of high school, coming out of college. They formed the mind that I have that says that I'm always curious about what is going on in the world. And there's a lack of curiosity because of the TikTok dances and because, you know, who's beefing between Drake and Kendrick Lamar and who's the best rapper ever. And all that comes back to Harriet Tubman wasn't real. You effing idiot.
Harriet Tubman was real, guys.
The story, you know, the story with that is people are saying because she changed her name, that's why Harriet Tubman isn't real, because her name is really, and forgive me, I'm escaping. She did change her name
multiple times though. So like again,
and she was a CIA operative and all this type. And I'm just saying, you blink idiots.
But even funnier, has anybody heard the story of the 355 agent?
The what?
Who everybody assumes is a black woman. The 355 agent. She was an agent back during Washington's era who smuggled stories or smuggled I guess letters, notes, anything she could from the Confederacy back to Washington. She would ride a horse back and forth because she was an unsuspecting slave, and she would ride back and forth and she would deliver, and nobody knew what her name is, but she was a black slave, and they called her Agent 355. I mean, these women.
That's news to me. I have to look that up.
Oh, look it up. It's an amazing story.
Mm-hmm.
She is apparently the reason why that war, I can't think of the war, my brain's going blank, was won because she was able to transfer all of these notes and secrets all the way to Washington.
War 1776 with George Washington?
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me make sure. Agent 355. Yeah, Agent 355, America's first spy.
Mm.
This was during the American Revolution, was part of the Culper Ring spy network. She was one of the first spies for the United States, but her identity is unknown. They painted her as white, but she worked as a housemaid in the other house where the other ones worked. So there wasn't very many white women who were working as maids back in that day.
There were indentured servants during that time as well, but
of white women.
There were indentured servants who were white. There were. But I'm with you. I'm a little skeptical of it all.
Anyway.
Before, do you have a hun what today? Do you have a hun what?
I do. Let's go on the hun what. I got hun what and I got fun.
One more story. One more ridiculous story before we get into our hun what of the day. And this guy is Mr. This guy's on television. He's
You're on TV.
ABC News.
All right. We didn't touch anybody. You know that's true. You're cool. Okay. Thank you. I got it. So you can see, obviously, tensions are extremely high here. We video tested, but we just not. Okay. Obviously, massively high tensions here. These folks are tired. They're also hot. It's a long day, and it's been a long week. We clearly didn't touch the officers. You're on live television, sir. Okay. Thank you.
So these officers should not, one, be engaging with the press. This is ABC News live. This reporter, which is a professional reporter, he's so calm with dealing with this thing, and these cops are losing their minds. And you're screaming and hollering at a news reporter. What is this news reporter going to do to you with some AirPods in his ears and a microphone while you sitting there with a gas mask?
And a black baby tea. He on the black baby tea.
Come on, man.
And I appreciate him being calm because he and him have that same, Anderson Cooper and him have that same kind of vibe of, we're not doing anything. We're just here.
We're just reporting. We're just reporting the news, guys. We're just reporting the news, guys. It's right here on camera. I didn't touch the guy. My video cameras are rolling. I didn't touch the guy.
Anyway, let's. Okay, guys. So we've talked about a lot of serious stuff today. We've kind of fumbled through it because there's so much stuff on me and Miguel's brain. So now we can go into fun. So let's talk BET Awards. So before I torture Miguel with the fashion of the BET Awards, we have to go into.
Do you have it on your screen? Do I need to pull you up? Do you have it on your screen?
Yeah, pull me up.
All right. No, not that one. Hold on. Yeah, where you at? Where's Kia screen? This one.
Oh, I have to share first. Sorry
You
about
do.
that.
So as we're
There we
gonna
go.
pull up at the
Got it.
wonderful award show where Glorilla won gospel
Yeah.
artist of the
Okay.
year.
So Dietrich Haddon takes issue with Glorilla's gospel win, Kirk Franklin tribute at the BET Awards. And I'm sorry, I agree with Dietrich Haddon. Gospel star Dietrich Haddon has voiced his disagreements with BET Awards awarding Memphis rapper Glorilla the Bobby Jones Best Gospel Inspirational Award at the 2025 BET Awards. He also alluded to it being unfair that Kirk Franklin is consistently recognized for his contributions to the genre, while others who are just as influential are largely ignored. Nobody's as influential as Kirk Franklin, Dietrich. You just gotta let it go. You just gotta let it go, baby.
Kirk's been doing
Haddon
this for
took
30
his-
years. It's been 30 years for Kirk Franklin. 30.
We gonna go there. Haddon took to his social media page Tuesday morning with this critique of the award show, starting off his Instagram video saying that gospel needs an overhaul. He is right. He quoted, "After last night's show, it is an indicator that we need a complete reset. Like, what are we doing? Are we allowing this to happen over and over again? And we wonder why gospel music industry is dying." So before, I don't need to read any more of the article. Let me just say this, and I know Miguel agrees. Glorilla winning this award wasn't right. It wasn't, and she shouldn't have won
It doesn't. We see. It's the thing. I was watching this with Michelle, and when they threw up the nominees, and I saw Glorilla was dominant, I looked at her. I said, "Glorilla got a gospel song?" She was like, "Yeah." I said, "Lord Jesus." These award shows, we stop acting like these award shows are democracies. These are marketing tools for these organizations. And so when whoever else was up for nomination for those awards, none of them had Kirk Franklin and Glorilla attached to them. And so here's a funny thing too, because I saw the nominees, they weren't all gospel artists. They were some other artists, hip hop artists, whoever, R&B singers. It's not just gospel, because we're really at a point now, and I don't know what's really happened to the gospel industry. And there's a couple of people I want to see if I can get on the phone to talk about it. It's gospel industry is suffering. We used to have a few, Yolanda Adams, Kirk Franklin has managed to stay in there and remain relevant because he does records with Kanye West and Glorilla and DaBaby.
No,
it's
not even that. It's that Kirk Franklin evolves. A lot of these gospel artists have not evolved the way that we all expect them to. It's not about even getting, the most popular rapper out there. Kirk Franklin is constantly like, hey, the background singers and gospel choir had singing Melody from Heaven. They didn't sing that second album. They didn't sing that third album, fourth album. He's constantly getting new singers who have a new vibe. He's constantly writing his music that has a new vibe.
Yeah, evolving is one word. Some people would say, he's kind of cosplayed. I'm learning you guys new word, cosplayed a little bit of an R&B / gospel singer, right? He's stepped. When I think the first record he did that was considered to me like with a crossover artist is when he did Stomp with Salt from Salt and Pepper, and we were like, oh, she did a song with Salt, and then, right, it was in the club, and so then you just started seeing over his career that he was the guy. He's the go-to guy to cross that bridge between gospel and R&B and as far as pop culture. And people like Dietrich Haddon, who've been in the game pretty much as long as Kirk Franklin, actually.
A long time. He has.
He's been in the game a long time. They don't like the fact that they have not had that level of success crossing over. I think that Dietrich Haddon probably would have liked to been able to accomplish that.
Dietrich Haddon has made some mistakes in his life that people were just kind of like, are you serious, dude? Like, we can't really rock with you. Like he had a child out of wedlock. Everybody knows about that. He had that stupid reality show he shouldn't have done. He shouldn't have done that. Like, he's had falters where people are kind of like, we really can. The only artist that I'm surprised has not really broke out as mainstream as Kirk Franklin is probably Lecrae. Lecrae has done a very good job. He has been in BET Cyphers. He's had very popular albums and this and that. But he hasn't really been as popular as Kirk, and maybe that's because...
Well, he's a rapper, and you got to have a certain bad boy thing about you to make it as a rapper. There's very few people who never crossed that. And I think about people like Common, but Common has even had some of the best diss tracks, and there's always been this authentic thing. Lecrae is in a lane kind of by himself. You know, because I remember when I was deep in the culture of contemporary Christian music and churches and things, and a lot of them had this love kind of tolerate relationship with Lecrae and 116 in their movement. And so he stayed in that lane, and he's done well with that. He's in podcasting now and merchandising, and he's had other artists that I believe he's managed. And so, gospel music is you know, when's the last time Yolanda Adams has had a major contemporary hit? I think that right. You know, you start talking about
Mary, or even Mary singularly have not had.
Well, they've had, you know, Erica Campbell has been in radio for probably 15 years. So that's the thing people don't understand about musical artists. And they are contractors. They go from movie to movie to movie, and album to album to album. And so when they get a job, like Erica Campbell doing radio and Steve Harvey doing radio.
Erica Campbell, the sister we like.
Erica Campbell is one that's married to Warren Campbell. Tina is
like, yes, I'm not surprised that she has had a good career.
We don't like the other one. We don't like the other one.
No, we don't. No, nobody likes the other one.
Oh God, Jesus.
Anyway, before we talked about that, and how much more time do you have? Because there's two things I want to get into. Let's
go. Hey, my people ain't here, so I got a couple.
Oh, I forgot. You've been abandoned.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna do two fun things, guys, and we're gonna clip probably this and that. Let's go into the BET Awards 2025 fashions, the best, the worst, and the weirdest looks.
Pulling your
Let's
screen
go
up?
ahead.
Am I pulling your screen
You're
up?
going to pull my screen up. The best, we have Sky Jackson here. She is wearing a sheer bottom. I wish they would put the designer on here. What do you think of this look? Sky Jackson on your screen.
That's cool.
Okay, this is going to be a great segment. We have Doja in a very double belt, bangles galore.
You didn't show me the top of her. Let me see. Oh, that's Doja. Oh yeah. She's interesting. Is she non-binary? I don't know much about her.
I don't think she's non-binary. I think she's bisexual. But here's the funny thing about the theme of the show. The theme of the show kind of paid homage to 106 in Park back in the day. Back in the day, when I was younger, we were all trying to wear this bandana top and skirt or jeans or whatever and rocking it like this. Like, I don't. Okay. You're older than me, so I don't know.
I remember 106 in Park. You know, it's funny thing. AJ and Free, they move and shake. And hold on, go back to Delta. Okay. I found something in. Of course,
Keep talking. We can still hear you.
So hold on. My little thumbs up I was going to give it and see if it shows up. It doesn't. Yeah, there. No. What is it doing? Hey, there we go. Boom.
You're back.
There we go. That's what I was looking to do. All right. Let's move on. But no, 106 Park. AJ and Free, actually, they do business. They're in Atlanta now, and they're doing some business with fan base. So they're local right now. Who is this?
We have Keke Palmer. I do not have her designer. I actually love this dress. I think it's cuter, but I do think it could have been a little bit longer. It's a little bit. I didn't realize she had gotten this thin, though. A breakup will do that to you. What do you think of this look? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Yeah, I'll give her a thumbs up on that. I'll give her a thumbs up.
Okay.
I'll give her a thumbs up. I don't, she's like a chameleon. Every time I see her, she looks different.
Kevin Hart in a very...
Here's what I like about this year. When I didn't turn it on until Jamie Foxx, when they were honoring Jamie Foxx.
His icon award.
And the fact that most of the adults in the room, which people who were 35 to 40 plus, they all had on tuxedos, and they took it fashion wise, they took it seriously.
Well, let me say this. Apparently, this BET Award was geared towards people 35 and up. They were only featuring your A. Marie's, your Ashanti's, your Snoop Dogg's, your Pharrell, your older artists, and everybody was loving it. Everybody said it was organized and it was funny, it was entertaining. We had sponsors like Walmart and Target eager to be like, we want to sponsor it, because they knew that age group, when 106 in Park was popular, that's what brings in the money.
Right. This is why this makes sense to me, because I think they finally gotten to the point that younger demo, they're not watching these shows. They're not engaged in television. They're on their phones. And so stop ignoring the older millennials and the Gen X folks. We're here. We work. We got houses and mortgage and money. You need to start paying attention to this. So I saw that. I saw what you said. And I was like, yo, so they're honoring Jamie Foxx, Mariah Carey, Snoop Dogg, which Snoop Dogg. Kurt Franklin. And let me just say, hearing Ain't No Fun If the Homies Can't Have None with Snoop Dogg in a tuxedo and Warren G in a tuxedo was not on my bingo card. That was not it. No. But let me go ahead and give Kevin Hart his thumbs up. I'm down. Kevin always is dressed smooth, though.
We have Jordan Sparks. I hated this. She looked like my mama friend. Like, it's not.
Where has she been? Where has Jordan Sparks been? I don't.
Raising a child, apparently.
Oh, really? Okay.
Thumbs down.
You gonna make me? Now this getting thumbs down out the gate. Who is this?
Kalani is an artist, and also I appreciate
what is
Kalani
her name?
for showing up. She has actually Kalani. She's a songwriter and an artist, and a very popular songwriter and artist, but she's also very political. She supports Palestine 100%. She has been very critical of Israel, and she has actually been dropped from several Pride shows, several other shows because of her support for Palestine. But she continues to show up. But your tattoos and this dress, you just look like a smorgasbord of awful. So
this is too much going on. It's too much going on. Tattoos and that gray dress and texture.
Tisha Campbell after her mommy makeover.
She said, "I know." I looked at her like she looks different. The whole belt around the neck thing is going to get a thumbs down from me. Yeah,
it's very Mad Max Fury Road. It's a lot of look, but I'm glad she's happy. Whatever. Then we have Tia Mowry.
That's not too bad. I don't really like the dark goth eye makeup, but go ahead.
You got to pull your Spanx all the ways up. They shouldn't sit here. They should sit under your bra so people can't see where your body is cut in 3 pieces, ladies. Look at her. Like a sausage.
I'll give her a thumbs up, even though the doggone dark makeup was a little bit of a whoever this is. Whoever this is getting a thumbs down. Who is this?
Sierra? I like this. You didn't like this?
No. Well, I don't like the hat with it. Maybe that's what distracted me.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. And maybe if this was a little longer, I feel like ladies don't. It can
Sierra will never have a little longer because she's got amazing legs. So she will never do longer. She will always show her legs off.
Okay.
But the hat,
Dog and his wife. Ew.
representing the Crips all day long. Did you see the performance? Did you see the performance of Snoop Dogg?
This is awful.
Did you see the performance of Snoop Dogg though? Did you see it? You got to look it up. You got to look it up. The dancers were Bloods and Crips. Everybody on the stage was dressed in either red or blue. And it wasn't even, they didn't even play around. I'm going to get us a thumbs down before you even start talking.
What? I like this. You don't like it? His pants need to be a little bit longer, but he's Shabuzi. It's country. Why, Miguel? Why?
I don't like country fashion. So let's start there. Okay. Let's start there. But go ahead, Shabuzi.
I don't like country fashion, but I do appreciate he's sticking with the country motif. And I just feel like his pants, just a little bit longer, sir. Just a little bit. Yeah. DeBrat, we know how she's gonna show up to places. This is not new. So that is your fashion for the BET Awards. So lastly, I would like to, you can stop sharing my screen. Finally, after many weeks and months, Omar and I watched Sinners. So let's just have a quick chat about it.
All right. Did you go to the theaters or did you stream it?
Hold on.
Where are you going?
Hold on.
Oh, God.
I need you for Sinners. We're going to talk Sinners. Come here. Sinners. I have to get Omar. It was a viewing experience for both of us as husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
That movie was amazing.
Mm.
The cinematography, the acting, the music, the vibe. It was great. So here's my partner in crime.
What's up, buddy?
What's going on, brother? Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, brother. Happy Father's Day. So y'all finally saw Sinners. What?
I'm sorry for that messaging yesterday or including you in the Father's post.
You don't love
Okay, I'm
me.
so sorry.
You don't
Anyway,
love me. Slide over so Omar can get in the screen. I can't see him. Slide over. So y'all, so you guys, did you see? Is it streaming yet, or did y'all went to the theater to see
We
it?
bought it. So she was gonna rent it, and I said, if it's that good, just pay the $5 more and own it. So now we own it.
Okay.
And
All right. So now we can talk about it. You know, spoiler alert. If you ain't seen it by now, oh well. We're talking Sinners. Go ahead. Let's talk about Sinners.
I think it was more about. I feel like the vampire part was a small part of it. Like, yeah, vampires, but the vampire part really was only 45 minutes. The other part leading up to it of the brothers, their relationship, them moving back home, their relationship with the white woman, the ex-wife, them going to war, Jim Crow South, sharecropping. It was religion. It was all these other things before the vampire thing even came into play.
Yeah, no, they really delved into a lot of. So my wife's family is from that area where it was based. So that whole part of Mississippi, and you go there right now, and it still looks like that, almost. But I thought that Michael B. Jordan. Here's the thing: you always be clowning Michael B. Jordan.
She ate those words.
I ate those words.
She ate those words.
I ate those words.
Yo, he did his thing. He did his thing, playing both roles. The love interest that he had. Y'all did watch all the way through to the 2 after joints, right? Okay. So the love interest, the way her entrance at the train station was everything. The way she came in, the sister.
And here's the funny thing: for people who don't know Haley Steinfeld, because we're Marvel fans, you're a Marvel fan like that?
Not like y'all, but
so we are. It is a psychotic juxtaposition to see her as Junior Hawkeye playing the sweet, innocent teenager girl. Like, oh my God, you gotta teach me how to shoot a bow and arrow. To now she's telling this boy, if you don't get the F out of my face, in the very hood accent. It is a crazy space as an actress.
Yeah, y'all gonna make me go ahead.
She's married to an NFL player now.
Married.
Who is she married to?
She married the quarterback for the Bills.
Oh,
last weekend.
Oh, okay, recent. Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, but
I just think there's a lot that I need to go back and because we were in Houston when we saw it, and I wish we would have seen it in a better theater, but I need to go back and look at it again. The one thing about it, I thought the blood was kind of quirky. The blood looked real fake. It looked like barbecue sauce. That was the one thing.
The blood was crazy. But the one thing I saw on social media that made me so angry is that they were trying to make, what was her name? Stack's wife, the black woman. I can't think of her real. Annie. They were trying to make Annie and all these black women's Twitter posts and TikTok posts. Oh, she was the mammy character. I was like, how was she the mammy character? Because she was black and big, big bones.
That's about the only That's about the only parallels. She was extremely
like,
strong.
She was all about caring and loving. I was like, no, she wasn't. She told him, "You don't stay here no more," and he didn't come back home until later. And you got to cook for me and make the catfish and da da da. She did that because she chose to.
Right.
But she.
Well,
I didn't like that.
Yeah,
I appreciate the fact that the two twins had a completely different personality, different taste in women, how they acted, how they associated with money, people, everything.
I think there was a lot. There was a lot of, and why I want to go back is I want to look at some of the Easter eggs. If you remember, they both wore red and blue, the two twins, right? And so, of course, Ryan Coogler is from Cali, so that probably had something to do with the Bloods and the Crips, potentially as being an Easter egg in there. The scene with the music and the dancing was amazing. Putting all of that in that mix, and then once again, you got to go back and I got to go back and see everybody who was represented in that scene.
There's a lot of people represented that people didn't realize. It was Caribbean, it was Black, it was African, it was Chinese. I think everybody saw the Chinese because it stood out so much. Like, why y'all over here? So it was all of that. And then a lot of people were saying how, it was a DEI move because we have Asian people in there. No, the Asian community was a massive part of the Mississippi South huge part of it. And again, I only know that from, again, going to a Black school and realizing about how the South worked, how Asians weren't allowed to move anywhere else. They could only move to Black communities.
In that town, those two Asian markets existed. They owned the Black market to serve the Black community, and they had the white market to serve the white community. That was not made up. There's a documentary about that. And so then there's other people complaining, well, why there was no Hispanics in there? It was Mississippi in the 1920s, 1930s. Oh. There was Asians in the community, but there weren't any Hispanics in the community.
If they did this movie in quote unquote where Arizona is now, where California is now, yes, there would be tons of Mexicans and Hispanic people there because they lived there. They didn't just. The funniest part of me though, Grace, this whole situation is your fault though. Asian Grace, it's your fault. You got mad for no reason. You got
Asian Grace. Okay, yeah. I'm trying to remember who Asian. Yes, yeah. Grace said, "Let's get it over with." She like, my man is gone, so let's just get it over with. But go ahead.
But the backstory that I thought was the most heartbreaking after I read about it and watched the film, and then like I said, read the script that Ryan Coogler had, is that apparently Smoke was the one with the white woman, right? With the white woman, right?
Don't give me the line.
Doesn't matter. They had a plan apparently after they became vampires. When he said, "You have no vision," when he was talking to him, he was basically saying, "Please let me turn you and Annie so we can get on out of here. Like, we don't want to be with this crazy white man. If we can turn you both, we can all the four of us live happily ever after and go on about our business." That's all he wanted to do. And that's why they ran after Annie died, because they realized our plan is not going to work. And that's what he agreed to. Stack saying, "Don't touch little Sammy forever and ever." He was like, "That's fine, because my plan didn't work for us to all just run off together, because that's what I wanted after I turned."
Yeah, and Buddy Guy, who plays the adult Sammy, is a real, accomplished blues singer.
Do you know who his daughter is?
Huh?
Do you know who his daughter is?
No.
Shauna. Remember rapper Shauna? What's Your Fantasy with Ludacris?
Oh, really?
That's his daughter.
But she's like the one that like her one song. Wasn't she like a one-hit wonder? Is there anything else she had?
She had 3 songs. Thank you very much. But yes, she only had 3 songs.
She gonna get her little 3 songs here. So, now that I know it's out on streaming, I think I'll go. But I don't know if I want, because I don't want my kids to see it. I'm sorry, I don't want my girls to see it. Not my younger ones.
What don't you want them to see? The cussing or the graphic sex references?
The graphic sex references that were there. It was very sexual in nature, no question about that. And so, and the vampire piece and all that stuff, I'm still, I'm still kind of old school in that space, in the way I move with that. So, nah, they're too young. 12 and 13 years old, they don't need to see that. I see people who are, a lot of folks in the religious space, they're doing all their think pieces about it, and I get it. I'm not gonna knock them for what they're doing, but nah, the girls are too young.
The one thing I do lastly want to bring up, that I don't think this man gets a lot of flowers ever. He never gets a flower. He's always in these backgrounds of great movies. Is Omar Benson Miller, who played Cornbread.
Yeah,
we've seen him.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah,
done everything, and no one ever really pays attention to him. He's just the background guy, but he's a good, solid actor, and he was solid in this movie.
Yeah, he was very good in this movie. Everybody, I can't think of anybody that I would just like, they sucked. Everybody did a good job in this flick. It just felt, even the guy who played the Irish guy, I really wanted, what's so crazy? I really wanted the natives to make another appearance in the movie.
So did we.
Yeah.
We thought they were coming back.
The natives said, "Nah, we told y'all." His boy was like, "Yo, the sun is going down. It's time to bounce."
They were like, "Hey, it's dark outside." So
that's when we knew it was going to get good.
Yeah, when he was like, "Yo, it's dark. How about we get back in this little wagon and we're leaving?"
Yeah. We done warned y'all. Y'all weren't about the Klan stuff. The Klan stuff is the minor stuff. These people about to eat y'all. So they was like, "We out." They never showed up.
When the sun came up, or even when things got really, really bad, I still thought the Indian people were gonna be like, "Oh, now we gotta go save these Negroes and these white people again. I don't want to do this, but we're gonna." You were like, "No, they're never."
Them Indians, them natives was like, "Man, whatever. Whatever. We gonna keep them away from our people. And I ain't mad at them, not near bit. They said
No, I don't
y'all
think
had that stuff to
anybody
deal with. And then the thing about it, the way they promoted the movie, the whole machine gun scene and all of that, and that was at the very end. You know, of course, those racist rat bastards got to come up and sit the end, and how that was dealt with. But I thought it was good. I thought, you know, it's funny. I asked some people who saw it before I saw it, and I was like, man, is there potential of a sequel? What do y'all think? And everybody didn't want to tell me. They was like, no, maybe a prequel. And then, of course, it would be interesting for a prequel to see what the Stax twins were doing prior to, but it wouldn't have a vampire element to it. It
wouldn't have a vampire element to it. It would have to be a prequel.
Just a regular old gangster
life.
movie. It would be just a regular old gangster movie.
Which is fine, because based on what Haley Stanfield's character said and what Annie, they're both their prospective girlfriend said was, so you robbed the Italian mob and the Irish mob, and you thought it was going to be fine with you. So showing them both kind of
right. So that would be interesting, potentially. So yeah, y'all saw the flick. We got a chance to talk about it. And as far as what I'm watching, we're watching, and I tried my best. I got to find something else while the family's away, because me and Trey watch everything together. But we're catching up with Godfather in Harlem, which is a good one. Forrest Whitaker is good. They've brought in what's interesting about this season is that now you remember Godfather Harlem is the character. You remember American Gangster?
Yeah,
with Denzel. So you know that was Frank Lucas.
It's Bumpy Johnson.
It's Bumpy Johnson, right? So now they've brought in Frank Lucas into the story now. After this is like season, huh?
They made him the wrong color in this series, The Godfather of Harlem.
And they brought in a pretty boy, so it is what it is.
Sure, let's make him 5 shades lighter and be like, "Ooh, this is him." I couldn't buy it. But anyway, outside of this, what else are you watching?
Watching that. I'm not watching nothing else but the craziness is going on in the news, I believe. What else am I watching? I'm trying to watch Mobland, but the NBA finals are going on right now. So
we finished that. We finished Mobland.
Y'all finished Mobland? No, we're gonna try to get back into Mobland once the finals are over, because we don't watch as much TV at night as we used to. So
we're trying to watch Fubar again with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's just stupid. Fubar is a stupid show.
It's hilarious.
Fubar is dumb.
Is that new? Is that new?
Netflix. It's the second season.
Oh, okay. So what I found interesting, I went on Netflix the other night, and it showed the top 10 movies that were trending on Netflix, and they were all old movies. And I was like,
because they're bringing stuff back. So like, what is it with Cameron Diaz?
What About Mary?
No, not The Mask. Where they're immortal.
Immortal?
With the girl who just got I can't think of the name. Cameron, hold on 1 second. The reason why they're showing old stuff because they're making
like
duplicates.
3 seconds before I hit you with the.
No. Wait, her name is not Cameron. Charlize Theron.
Oh yeah,
Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron.
You're saying it wrong, and we're okay with it. So, on Netflix, Old Guard. Old Guard 2 comes out, so that's why they're showing Old Guard 1, and that's why they're showing all these old shows.
Old Guard. I think I did watch Old Guard. I think I did watch that. I think
because the black girl is now the star of the second one. She was in the first one. Now she's actually the main character in the second one. And there's like Titanic is coming back out because the Titan documentary just came out. So that's why they're showing old stuff to get you interested in the new things coming about the old stuff.
Yeah, repurposing all this stuff.
The Ocean Gate documentary, I just watched that. That was terrifying.
The what documentary?
Ocean Gate, about the people who died trying to find Titanic. That whole thing. Don't play the.
He is a cricket over there, honey.
Just go away. He's just being mean to me. Okay, you have a blessed night and go with God, Crispy.